everybody. We are here today, and we have John Rempe back with us, master distiller at Lux Row Distillers, and the creative force behind one of bourbon's most anticipated annual releases, the Blood Oath series. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a minute.
Yeah, good to see you too, Jesse. Yeah, it's been probably almost a year now.
Yeah,
Glad to be back, and let's talk some bourbon.
it's good to see you, man. I know we have drank a lot of Blood Oath together in the past. I think the last time we were cracking Blood Oath, we were in the guest house at the Lux Distillery,
Yep.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is correct. Yeah, was that KBF last year?
That was KBF.
Yeah.
We closed down the after party, and
Yeah.
me, you, and Ian just having a good old time.
Yeah, yeah. That turned into a fun late night.
Yeah, KBF late nights are always fun until the next
Exactly.
morning. The
Yeah,
next morning, we
exactly.
always pay for it a little bit.
You always got to pay for it. You got to play, you got to pay.
That's right. That's right. I always enjoy seeing people enjoy KBF. Like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but there's just something infectious about seeing you guys had a line all the way to the edge of the property of
Yep.
people just wanting to come in, experience the whiskey, and people were leaving with like boom boxes of
Yeah.
boxes on their shoulders
Yeah.
as they were just like kids in a candy
Yep.
store where the candy is over 90 proof and they had
Yep.
to Uber home. It was a
Yeah.
fantastic thing to see.
That's one of my favorite things is seeing the people coming and getting to learn about our distillery and our whiskeys and I love watching them enjoy it too. That's I mean, I'm down in the visitor center all the time doing that and then talking with people. I love just drinking whiskey with them.
100%. And you guys, and if anybody listening has not been, you got to go to Bardstown and you got to visit the distillery. You guys have one of the prettiest. That might sound weird to say, but there's just something picturesque about the Lux Distillery where you're right up on that hill. There's always a blue sky, and then when you walk to the Ricks, it's just like Willy Wonka. It's just a beautiful place to visit, and you guys always put on a wonderful tour with tastings and that big barrel that you get to pull from. Just beautiful, beautiful distillery experience down in Bardstown.
Yeah, we got very lucky when we found that property when we decided to build that distillery and I mean we love it there. It is beautiful. It's so picturesque and I'm certainly I'm very fortunate that I get to live on the property too. So it's outstanding there.
And you've been with them since the beginning, right? Like you've been
Yeah.
with them since day one for you.
Yeah, yeah. Since that distillery was just a thought.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So having seen it, because that's been you've been in the industry now like 20 plus years, right?
Yeah. 28.
20.
Yep.
Oh my,
Going on 28. Yeah.
why? Okay, 28 years ago, how different was the whiskey landscape than what we're seeing in 2026? I mean, it was just night and day in terms of like engagement and consumer interest. And what were the problems you had 28 years ago versus the solutions that you see today?
Well, I mean, 28 years ago, I mean, the whiskey market was not even anywhere near what it is right now. And I mean, I remember I was director of research and development for a long time, and I just remember flavored vodkas were huge back in the 2000s, and I mean, and you go into a liquor store and you'd have one whole wall of a whole liquor store just full of that, and very few bourbons really just your mainstays basically are on the shelf, and now it's completely flipped. Now that other stuff, it's very the representation is much smaller than it was then, and now it's all bourbon.
I don't think I don't like. It's wild to think that because when you walk into a liquor store now, you're right. You've got like one wall, all whiskey, and a
Yep.
fourth of the wall on the other side, the clear. And
Yep.
it's always we're very fortunate to be in the time frame that we're in right now.
Definitely.
But the quality of liquid is what's led to that takeover of the shelf space. And what you have been creating and blending and curating and making over the past 28 years has been one of those creative forces that's cleared the space on the shelf for good whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just lucky to be a part of that, and lucky to have the distillery as our brand home now to kind of reinforce just where our brands are from and their stories behind them, and just being able to have good high quality products on the shelves like that. It's pretty cool.
Well, and you've got a cool backstory as well because you come from food science.
Yeah.
Like your origin story doesn't start with whiskey, but it lends
Oh.
itself to such a wonderful transition. Uh, we've talked about it a couple times, but you went from tell me your backstory again.
Well, I mean, food science is only part of it. I did that later on after I was already working with Lux Co., the parent company, back in the day. But I mean, originally, I was going to be a doctor. I was at St. Louis University. I was in pre-med there, and um, I fully anticipated becoming a family doctor, family practitioner. And one day, my our family's doctor, which was one of my parents' best friends, he came to me and he said, "You want to be a doctor?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "I just that's ever since I was a little kid, I've always had this dream that I was going to be a doctor." And um, I was in pre-med at St. Louis University, and I think it was after my sophomore year. He said, "All right, come this summer, come work with me for a little bit, and then I'll ask you again before you go back to school if you still want to go along this path." So I did, and I worked with him a little bit that summer, and it came time for me to go back. And he's like, "So what's the verdict? What do you think?" And I said, "Hell no, absolutely not. It is so different than what that romanticized, you know, version of what it is in your head, and it's so much different, and it wasn't anything that I really looked at and thought, oh, that's appetizing, that's what I want to do. So I finished out pre-med there, my degree in biology, and um, didn't go to medical school, and I started working for a soft drink company. And as a microbiologist, I was just testing their product and doing a lot of environmental testing there, and then went over into R&D a little bit. Started developing some new soft drinks and some new flavors, and did that for a few years. And then went to a small fruit juice company, mostly institutional. We would just do fruit juice concentrates for daycare centers and preschools and stuff like that. I went over there and I helped design and build that production facility, and I ran that for a few years also. And then one day I just got a call from a headhunter, and they said that there was a spirits company in St. Louis looking for research and development slash lab tech, and I jumped at it. And I mean, the funny thing was, I didn't even know there was a spirits company in St. Louis. Nobody in St. Louis knew about it. They just always flew under the radar and just kind of did their thing. And um, but yeah, so I started there in '98, and quickly worked my way up to director of R&D. And we had never had our own distillery before, Lux Row Distillers. I mean, that's we're talking, opening that distillery in 2018. Prior to that, the company's from 19, started in 1958. We were always just a rectifier, bottler, and sales organization. And I really took an interest in wanting to know and wanting to learn how to distill all of these bulk alcohols that we were buying. And so I spent a lot of time in other facilities learning how to do that up in Canada, Western Canada, Alberta. I was there all the time up there making rye whiskey, some vodkas, Canadian whiskey. I spent a vast amount of time down in Mexico in Guadalajara making tequila. I got a partnership with the families, the Gonzalez family down there, and I was down there all the time learning how to make tequila. Um, I spent a lot of time over in Ireland too, for niche drinks up in Derry, Northern Ireland, where we were making a bunch of cream liqueurs, Irish cream liqueurs, and I learned how to do that, and I brought um, that knowledge back, and that's how I make our bourbon creams right now. I use pretty much the same method that I learned over there, and then in Kentucky making whiskey. So uh, when we decided that we were going to build this distillery, the ownership and the top brass there, they came and they said, "Hey, you want to move to Kentucky and run this distillery?" And I said, "Absolutely." I was at
Yeah,
the
who
point
can
in my
say no
life
to
where I
that?
was, yeah, exactly. So, and there was a house right here on the property, and they said you could live in that house too, but you don't even have to drive anywhere to go to work. And I said, "I'm in." So, fast forward to today, and we've been doing that for 8 years now, and not looking back.
That's wild. And everything, like I always love stories like that because the like your best master distillers have had such a they've done a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
you've got so many things in your background that you can just see play into where you are now and why you're as good at what you do as you have been. So it's just I always it's just such a fun story. And I got to ask you, after your first summer as a master distiller or after your first summer in whiskey, did you have a different feeling than you did after the first summer of being working with your family's doctor?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Much different. I am very, very fortunate to be doing what I do. Like I was saying, I didn't set out, I didn't plan on doing this. It just happened, and I took some steps, to kind of gear, during the process, during my employment in this industry to try to go this direction, and it worked out.
You said something a minute ago that hit me, and I don't like bulk distillation. Like it's so hard to get a consistency across an entire like it's I don't want to say easy, but craft can sometimes have the benefit of like if it's a little off from expression to expression, it's like that's part of the allure, that's almost part of the romance to a craft product. But
Right.
bulk is so much in my mind harder because you've got to make sure an entire country gets the exact same experience every time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on doing on the scale that we are doing it on, that can be tough, but that's just part of our job, and keeping everything, all of our procedures, all of our documentation of everything that we're doing, just making sure that we're repeating everything the same from time and time again, and being able to adjust and adapt to any curveballs thrown your way during the process. And really, I mean, when we're doing, our large volume brands like Rebel and Ezra Brooks, that's where the blending really comes into play there, really keeping that profile consistent from bottle to bottle on the shelf, whether it's out in Washington State or down in Florida. And that's the challenge, but that's also the fun part of it too.
Oh, 100%. uh I've been hooked on Rebel 10 lately. Like Rebel 10's been one of my go-tos as of late. And when you're putting that together, and one compliment I got to pay you is there's a consistency in the profile as well. Like how do you keep it different? Like when you're going through and standing all of this up, how do you keep like Rebel's going to taste like this, Ezra's going to taste like this, but you're going to be able to tell that they're related. Like what are the checks and balances that go into keeping the brands separate so that each of them have their own personality, but that you can tell that they're related? Like to me, it just I go gray just thinking about it, and as you can tell, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean that is a challenge, and for the Rebel tenure, that's actually it can be a little fun with that. You can have a little fun with that brand because it's single barrel, so
Right.
you're not going to have that perfect consistency from bottle to bottle to bottle. It'll be similar, and like there's a style that you recognize and you anticipate, but there are little nuances in the profile that it'll change from bottling to bottling. But then when you get to Ezra Brooks and Rebel, those large ones, I mean, the blending really comes into play very, very strongly there, just to be able to you have that target, you have that customer expectation that you have to meet from bottle to bottle, and without fail you have to do that. And we always say, um, our customer knows our product better than we do. I mean, we've had, it wasn't whiskey, it was years ago, but we had another, it was a flavored rum that we did, and we it was a pretty large volume uh, item for us. And one time we got a few complaints, and the customers are like, "It's off, it's wrong, it's wrong." And we ran it through all of our panels, and we're smelling it and tasting it and running our own panels. And and we're like, I don't really see it. I mean, there might be a slight thing, and then you know, the customer knows way better than we do. I mean, and that's kind of like a given across the industry. Like, you got, customers, they'll call in and they'll say, I drink 1.75 liters less a week. And I'm like, "Well, okay, it. So that's the thing. You need to be consistent. You need to guarantee that quality from bottle to bottle.
How do you separate it for your personal palate between work and play? Like, do you ever when you're trying a new whiskey, are you able to like turn off the distiller hat and just enjoy, or are you, if something jumps out at you, are you immediately back on the job, like, oh, that's a defect, or oh, they should have probably maybe tried this a little differently?
I try to not overanalyze everything that I'm sipping, but more often than not, I mean, even my friends or just people I work with, even I'm just sitting around and we're just having a pour or something, but they'll notice that I'll be just sniffing it and even like cutting off a nostril. Just as I'm just talking, and I don't really realize I'm doing it most of the time, and so it's hard to turn that off. But I enjoy it. I that's one of the fun things. I love you know tasting and nosing whiskey and figuring out all the little different flavors and aromas in there. That's just fun for me.
I'm right there with you. Almost to the point I'm worried I'm being annoying to the people. But if
Yes. Yeah.
my logic is if they ask, then they're
Yeah.
wanting an answer. Uh,
Exactly.
was drinking with a crowd because I do the comedy, so you'll get off stage and people listen to the show, then they come to a show and they will inevitably want to, I get this. What do you get?
Yeah.
And God bless them. The majority of the times, like, you know what? I get like good whiskey off of this one, and you're like,
Right. Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good. That's
That's
perfect.
perfect.
Like, you don't have
Exactly.
to go any further than that if you don't want to. But then to your point, they'll ask you, and you're like, well, if you're breaking down, you can get the dark fruits, and then there's different sugar levels that you're going to have across the palate, and you just see them gloss over. And
Yeah.
and you should, my brain, I'm just like, just tell them it tastes like good whiskey.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. Just keep it simple for
that's
them.
where they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
meet them.
Exactly. But I love it when you get somebody that wants to try to pick it apart, and they'll say, I get raspberry. Do you get raspberry? And I'll say, yeah, I think I might get some raspberry out of that. But and I tell them, I say, it doesn't really matter what you think you're getting as long as you're consistent. But if there's a compound that you're recognizing and you're calling it something, if you're consistent, then that's the first step. That's a positive first step in your journey of tasting and smelling whiskeys.
That's a fun way. I love that. That's a great way to think about it. Like,
Mm.
you may not. It doesn't matter if you're not using industry jargon.
Yeah.
If when you
Yep.
drink it, you're able to pick out that
Yep.
same note every time, whatever it is
Yep.
to you is the right way to do it.
Yeah. And realistically, I mean, I do a lot of barrel picks with people. They'll come in liquor stores and bars, restaurants, and they'll pick some single barrels, and I'll sit in every now and then with them. And some of those guys, they've been doing that for so long, and they are good. They can pull these descriptors out of thin air, but they're bang on accurate. And I tell them all the time, I say, next time my marketing department comes to me and said, hey, I need some tasting notes on this, I'm just going to call one of these guys, ship them a bottle, and say, let me see what you got, because they're sometimes they put me to shame. A lot of these guys do.
Here's a bottle. Here's your homework.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, I I I love doing picks when people can not only talk to what they're tasting, but when they know what it's going to be used for.
Yep.
It's like that next level when they're like, well, this is for a club, we're going for funky,
Hmm.
or this is for a store, and we need it to be as on point for what this brand would be,
Yep.
amplified to barrel. And you're like, oh, dude, that's half the work. Okay, now
Yeah.
let's do it. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's so many times where I'm doing picks with people, and you, they may bring a lot of times they'll bring some of their customers, some of their better customers, or sometimes they'll even have like a lottery type deal where if you win this, then you get to go on a barrel pick, and it's great when they bring people like that. But it's also we kind of have to coach them a little bit more because they're tasting these barrels and they're only like mindset is, I don't like this, or I do like this, or this is what I like, or I would like to see this. And we have to say, this isn't for you, though. This is for the customer. Pick what you think your customer would like. I just had to did a barrel pick last Wednesday or Thursday, it might have been Thursday afternoon. And the whole time they were sitting there, and they were like, we need something to be a little bit sweeter, and we need to not have any real kind of bitterness or dryness or like overly tannic or anything like that. They said because our customers don't want that. So we went through barrels and we got them one that they wanted. But that was the perfect example of it. Absolutely knowing your customer and picking bottles or barrels that fit what they need.
It makes it so much better for the final product. Not
Mhm.
only for you guys as the facilitators, but they're going to come back because
Yeah.
once they get what they want and their base gets what they need, then what we did last time. Can we do that?
Mhm.
And we'll just
Yep.
call it the 2027.
Yep. Yep. Then they develop a certain level of trust with that
Absolutely.
retailer, that they know that if they've got a single barrel sitting out on the floor, they're more often than not they're going to like it.
And that's North Carolina, and North Carolina being a control state, I think they do a good job a lot of times of not every restaurant has a bar program that is got a good palate on the dais. You know what I mean?
Right.
So North Carolina has done a good job of like, oh, we're sending someone from the Crunkleton. Well, yeah, the Crunkleton's known for good whiskey, so that makes perfect sense. We're not sending somebody from, TGI Fridays or whatever local version of TGI Fridays there would be. You know what I mean?
Right.
If
Right.
they're going to pick
Exactly.
blue vodka, then yeah, we're going to send somebody
Sure.
from the party 1 o'clock in the morning place. But for the whiskey, we're going to send somebody from an established
Yep.
organization that can do what you just said and find
Yep.
something that's for the state.
Yep, absolutely, and that always makes those picks a lot more enjoyable when you have somebody with that level of experience doing it.
1,000%. And you were talking about uh, the creams a minute ago. The Ezra cream is always like, good Lord, like in terms of those. And again, this is completely off topic, but you said it, and I've got ADHD. So,
Mhm.
uh, you know how those can go too sweet too quick?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
that's such a hard thing to do correctly, and so many people do it wrong. But the Ezra is always like you're getting that note that you want and not that fake sugar flavor, which
Right.
is that's not Blood Oath, but I've got
Yeah.
some. And I had my sister came over, and she was had some in her coffee the other day, and she's like, this
Mhm.
is really good. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't taste like sugar, does it? And she's like,
No.
no.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that is when I formulated those, they're formulated with real dairy cream. They're not using a non-dairy creamer, which can be found in some. And I don't use high fructose corn syrup. I use sucrose. I don't want. There is a difference in flavor. Absolutely a difference in flavor with those two sweeteners. And then for that, the Ezra Brooks, just the straight bourbon cream. That's just like an all natural cocoa extract that I added into that, just to give it a little bit of a thing. And to be honest, that's most Irish creams. That's all it really is that flavor, that cocoa note in it too.
That makes perfect sense. That's why it doesn't do that film on the back of your teeth. Like
Yep.
that's okay. Perfect.
Yep.
I learned something today.
There you
So
go.
thank you for that.
Yep.
All right, that was the me question. Now for the everybody question. Blood Oath is always people's favorite, like one of the favorites that you put out every year. You and I get to drink through some delicious 12 today.
Yep.
Uh, the story of Blood Oath, it runs parallel with the fascination people have had with the elevated whiskeys for the past, 12 years. Uh,
Yeah.
what was the thought process going into it? Because this was really when I came to know of you was the Blood Oath series and your thumbprint, your fingerprint that you get to put on this every year. So, what was the idea behind it when it started?
Back when the brand started.
Yep.
Yeah, so this was actually the first brand that I have ever created. And our company normally would just buy brands from other companies that were looking to sell off some certain lines. But I wanted to do something, it just a brand that was completely ours. It never was anyone else's. And I brought the idea to our marketing group and to our sales group, and they said, "Yeah, let's see what we got." And I said, "But I don't want to just go out and find some really old whiskey and put it in a nice bottle and put a huge price tag on it. That's not what I want to do. That's boring. It's just going to get lost in the shelf." And I I had an idea of I wanted it to be more of an experience, something that you could look forward to every time I release this. And it's different every year. I always do something different. I'll never repeat anything. When it's sold out, it's sold out. I get asked all the time, "Are you going to make more of that?" And the answer is always no. I mean, that's part of the pact. Each year it's a different pact. So we're on pact 12 right now. But that's kind of like the part of the pact is like you're going to trust me that every year when I do this, you're going to like it. And I think you alluded to it before. I I don't divulge where I get any of these whiskeys from. I mean, I started this well before Lux Row even uh, was a thought. And so I go out and I find older whiskeys across the state of Kentucky. They're always Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys. Um, and that that's to me, like, I don't want to tell you where they're coming from because I know how reviewing whiskeys work, and I know, like, just I mean, all the my the bourbon geeks, the bourbon nerds, like that's very affectionate. I love that term because I'm one of them.
Right there with you.
But they will try to pick it apart, and a lot of times if they knew where it was coming from, they're gonna judge the whiskey before they even open the bottle, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves in the industry is um, I want my whiskey judged after you open the bottle and actually taste it.
That's right.
That's why I don't give any clues or any hints at all where I'm getting these whiskeys from. Um, and that to me, that's the most fun part of this is I'll go on social media or on Reddit or whatever, and I see they'll have posts about the latest pact, and there'll be people saying I can taste some Four Roses in this, right? Taste it. And I'm like, you're so far off. It's so funny to read all these different, and people will like, I agree. That's exactly what it is. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not even close. But that's the fun part of this.
But that's such a great that's almost a damn gift that you're giving them because if you took the mystery out of it, they wouldn't get to have those
Right.
conversations.
No, exactly.
The
Yep.
beauty of being a whiskey geek is doing exactly that, where you get to sit around and
Absolutely.
go,
Yep.
"Oh, I'm pretty sure there's some insert this. Oh, yeah,
Right.
it's got to be
Yeah.
old that. I guarantee
Yeah.
you it's old that."
Yep.
And
Right. Exactly.
they're wrong, but
Yep.
those two dudes talking wouldn't be
Yeah.
talking otherwise.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So Pact One was just three whiskeys that I blended together, and it was crazy when I think back at that all the time. When we open it up for ordering with our distributors, it's sold out that day. We sold every case that day.
Really?
And that was simply they had never tasted it. I just pitched the concept to them and they loved it. They said that's great. And so the next year I decided to do a finish on it. And I had not relayed that information to anybody else in marketing or sale or our owner, COO or whatever. And I said I'm going to do a port barrel finish on this one, and they looked at me and they said absolutely not. Nope. And I said, yes. And they said, no. They said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. This is sold out in one day. Why would you mess with this? Just do it again. And I said, I'm not going to just do the same thing again. I go, that's missing the point of what I'm doing. That you're just doing the same thing over and over. No one's going to look forward to that. No one's going to wait for that one to drop. So I said, here's the deal. I'm doing a port finish or my name isn't on the bottle anymore because I my name is on every one of these bottles. I said it's my reputation. It's me personally. This is very personal for me. Let me do this. Just please trust me. And they said, all right, begrudgingly, they said, okay, but it's your ass. Basically, that's basically what they said. And but we did the port finish on pack two, and again, sold out in one day when we opened it up for ordering, and it's been that way every year since. And this is the brand that is near and dear to my heart. It's the brand I get to have the most fun with too.
And I'm just sitting here reading the list of the previous packs, and it just so much of this. for the time period that it came out was ahead of its time in terms of what the rest of the industry was doing. And the finishing, you can look back to the Blood Oaths and a lot of the you can tell when something's a hit because after it's done, everybody else does it.
Yep.
And there's a list of these in your resume that 2016 you didn't see that finish on the shelf every third bottle like you
Yep.
do in
Mhm.
2025.
Right. Yep. That and that's I mean it's flattering and at the same time it just shows that like this is they're doing it because it's wanted also. I
That's
mean
right.
and
That's
when
right.
I first started doing this, I met a lot of opposition um, from just whiskey groups, reviewers, and they're like, I don't know, flavor this. You're flavoring the whiskey, and I'm not flavoring. I'm just adding a little something to it. All of my finishes, they're never over finished.
Right.
I finish it just enough to where it's just a subtle hint. And sometimes you'll say, "Wow, that's really good. What is that?" And I'll say, "Well, that's Cabernet Sauvignon." And they're like, "Oh, you're right." Now you say it, I don't want the finish to ever overpower the actual bourbon. I want it to just add something to it. I want you to still know it's a bourbon. You're still drinking bourbon whiskey, but it's just got a little bit of something else added to it. I was out in San Francisco years ago, probably over 10 years ago. And yeah, it might have been maybe 8 or 9 years ago, but it was for a whiskey fest out there. And another master distiller came up to me and uh, he said, "Let me try that Blood Oath." And I said, "All right, absolutely." And I poured him a little glass, and he tasted it, and he said, "Wow, that's really good." He goes, "That's really good." He goes, "Keep it up." He goes, "I love what you're doing here." And he turned around, and he walked away, but then he turned right back around, and he came out to me and said, "But don't you dare tell my dad I said that because he can't stand this stuff. He is just the purist." Just the old school purists. They don't like that anything. Don't tamper with my whiskey. That's and that's great. And I 100% admire that viewpoint too. And we've got plenty of whiskeys that are just that non-finished, non-tampered with. In the way that I, quote unquote, tamper with it is what they would say. Uh, but I mean, there's something for everybody, and I like to push the limits a little bit and just use my creativity and just make something a little more fun for people.
That's right. And I think it's so interesting without that innovation, it doesn't grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the beauty right now is there's room on the shelf for all of it. Like
Yeah.
there's no wrong answer in 2026. If it's good, it's good. And
Right.
it amazes me that it took so long to get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
That people there were the stalwarts that were just like, no. And
Right.
but then you know what changed it? A, it was good. That first and foremost was what changed it. But B, the people loved it.
Hmm.
When you saw the consumer just start flocking to this and other
Yeah.
brands recognize that not only from a taste standpoint, but from a monetary standpoint, that, oh, we could have different expressions and all of them have our personality with this on top of it. That's where then it took off. And the thing that separates the brands, like your artistry, you said it a minute ago, and I've talked to a lot of whiskey makers, and I don't want to say that. Some people don't understand that it's the bourbon first, and the secondary finish
Mhm.
is a heightener. It's not a hider.
Right.
And you've always been the frickin' you know, you do it better than the most I can think of, where you understand what the whiskey needs to be and you understand the factors that are going into how you craft the finish. And it's just beautiful always to taste through.
Well, I appreciate that. That's always been my goal. Is I don't want to hide what we're making, what we're using is that bourbon whiskey. I don't want to hide the beautiful profile uh, that comes with, and just like you said, a heightener, not a hider. I've never used that before. That's perfect. I might steal that and use that.
Hey, it's yours. Take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've drank enough of your whiskey. You can have my soundbite.
Nice. I appreciate it.
But the artistry really does come through, buddy. And I'm not just saying that. I remember when we were hanging out last time, and I don't I no, it wasn't last time. It was the time before last, and I don't think the 11 had come out yet.
Yeah.
And you were just so freaking happy with it, and you're so excited to be
Yeah,
getting to put it together. You had wanted to do
yeah,
it for so long, and
yeah.
you had cracked it, and you'd figured out what you wanted to
Mhm.
do. And I think that's infectious. That level of storytelling in whiskey making
Yeah,
is what you really like. That's what all whiskey makers should strive for, is to be that frickin' yes. This is what it is, and this
yeah.
is
I
what I want it to
mean,
be.
I mean, it just starts out. I love it. I love what I'm doing with it, and it's fun for me. It's not work.
Right,
It's fun.
right.
I mean, I just sit at home. I'll, sitting outside on the deck of the patio and just sipping some whiskey, and I'm just really just kind of daydream. Like, I wonder what I could do. What about this? What I'll try that. Let me see if I can get some of those barrels. And and you're talking about Pack 11. That was that añejo tequila barrel finish on that one. And I had tried that. I had tried to do that for 15 years. I was trying to do that before Blood Oath even existed as a concept. Um, I had barrels back at our bottling facility in St. Louis, and I had some whiskey barrel or some tequila barrels sent up from Mexico, and I've tried that over and over and over, and I could never get it to be what I thought I could get it to, or where it just wouldn't get to where I wanted it. The two profiles, they don't really play very nicely together. Tequila and bourbon are they're pretty different. And you got that hot, spicy, peppery note,
Yep, yep.
coming out of tequila. And then you got the smooth, warm caramel and vanilla notes coming out of bourbon. Uh, but I finally got it right, and that Pack 11. You don't even know it was a tequila barrel finish until the very end when you get the finish, and it's that sweet agave note, and that's when but once I was tasting that every day towards the end there, and once I got it to right there, I yanked it out of those barrels right away and stopped the finishing because it could blow past that end point so fast uh, that I had to stop it right then. But it nailed it. It's just got that sweet agave note at the end of it, and it'll just sit on your lips for hours after you even taste it. I just lick your lips and you still get that sweetness coming off.
And you pulled it off in a way to where you didn't get uh the pepper is the hardest thing to work around
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
drinking through a tequila finish,
yep,
and you somehow just freaking nailed it to where you were able to get what makes a tequila special without having
yeah,
that pepper just take over.
yep.
It was really a wonderfully done pact last year,
Well, I
which gets
appreciate that. Yep.
well, and I just remember just like
Mm,
however we had run into each other, it was
yeah.
just like you were you were just
Yeah.
like, I did it. I've
Yeah.
done the thing.
Oh, yeah. Finally. I mean, it was very personal for me that tequila finished because I had spent so much time making tequila down in Mexico and anywhere from out in the agave fields. I'm not going to say that I was harvesting agave. I was out there and watching it. I may have harvested one, and I said, okay, it's not for me. But I wanted to make it work so bad, and it took me a long, long time. And if it wasn't something that was personal and special to me, there's no way I would have kept going. I would have just stopped it. But I just kept after it and finally paid off.
Well, it's when you have an idea, sometimes it just takes that time.
Yep.
There are jokes that I put away 10 years ago because like something wasn't hitting, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden something you mature as well as what you're trying to say and how you say it matures. So
Yep.
all of a sudden an avenue opens up where you're like, oh, I've always been doing this when I should have done that. The light bulb clicks, and then boom,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
got something that's just going to stand
Absolutely.
the test of time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good Lord, I'm now sitting here. If I've got it like right there, like it's right up above. I keep all of the blood oaths on the top shelf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. There they are.
there we go.
Nice.
Yes, if I keep
Beautiful.
them out of reach, I won't just chug them.
There you go.
But that also brings us to this year, and we've got Pack 12. I'm not gonna lie. I have waited to have this with you. I have not had. I
Okay.
just cracked it literally before you got on.
Nice.
So
Good
I've
deal.
read up on it. I know
Yeah.
what you've done. I'm super interested to hear what your thought process was going into Pack 12. So tell me about it. It's the
Yeah.
2026 Blood Oath.
Yeah.
Uh, let's dive
This,
into it.
I'm just opening up my bottle. It's probably gonna be a little loud, the plastic. There you go. So Pack 12. So this one is my double Italian wine finish. So I love doing wine finishes. And I've done several of them, and I've done other ones too. But uh, I don't know if I mentioned, but years ago, I went back to school for enology and viticulture also, and I work with some winemakers to in whiskey blending. And um, but like when did my first double wine finish, that was Pack 10. That was the Cabernet Franc and the Merlot finish on that. And this one, that was incredible. That like I was expecting the two to come together and create something new, but they kind of the finish on that one just kind of they held apart where the you get that Cabernet Franc on that Pac 10, you get that little bit of a funkiness that I always get out of a Cabernet Franc, and then the finish was all Merlot. It was great. It was crazy. So last year I did the tequila, and then this year I went. I want to go back and I want to try another double wine finish on it. And I use my background and my education in enology and viticulture, and I love Italian wines too. And um, I was thinking that I wanted to do two Italian wines because I'm a huge fan, and I was just, I mean, I was researching it. I was buying bottles. I was tasting the bottles, and I finally settled on the Montepulciano and the Sangiovese. That the two just came together perfectly, and it's the first time that I like when it was done finishing, and I that last time I sampled it, I pulled that sample out of the barrel, and I had a glass of it, and I smelled it, and it was just cherry. I mean, cherry just jumps, and that's the Montepulciano. It's got that cherry note to it, and it's so evident, and it you smell it, but then it kind of goes away, but then it'll come back, and I could not believe it had that much of a cherry note coming out of it. I knew that I was going to be getting some of that note out of it, but the finish on that was great. And then that Sangiovese it's just the the note from that, and that again, I get almost like a little bit of a funky note out of that sometimes too, and I can get that on there too. But that cherry note on this one is outstanding. I love it.
The cherry all day long, and then
Uh-huh.
there's this beautiful freshness to it as well,
Uh-huh.
almost like a grape peel that you're getting off the top of
Yeah,
this thing.
definitely. Yeah,
Oh my
it's so.
goodness. And the both of the Italian wines have that almost black cherry, plum
Right.
cherry in their
Yep.
backgrounds, don't they? Like in terms of
Absolutely.
drinking them
Yep.
without being blended for the whiskey.
Right. No, exactly. Yep. And so this pack it was a 12-year, 9-year, and then a 7-year, and the 7-year is what I split into those two barrels. I always finish the youngest whiskey in my blend. I know I never I've tried it, bench trials basically finishing the older whiskeys, and I've never really been too happy because I feel like I'm ruining what that higher age has brought to that whiskey. So I always finish the youngest whiskey. So that 7 years split between the two wines, and then after that is finishing or is done finishing, I will take that and then blend that into the two older whiskeys at just the right amount to where like I said, it's not overpowering it. It's just adding something a little bit to it.
But that's beautiful because you're having the fruit notes from the younger whiskey pick up off the fruit notes of the wine finish. Then you've
Hmm.
got the oak of that 12-year
Hmm.
creating that
Right.
depth of flavor. I'm slowly getting it, John. I'm slowly getting. It's
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
taken us me
No.
five years to
No.
be
You're
able to talk
good.
to you.
You got it.
I'm diving in. Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, it's a sipper. All right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. It's got so much going on, but none of it's forcing its way to the front of the line. Like it's
Right.
all unfolding.
Yep.
Uh
Balanced. Yep.
yeah, oh my God, completely.
Yep.
It's working that mid palate just
Hmm.
absolutely beautifully.
That's one of the most difficult things to get. I'm glad that you actually picked up on it. Is balance, and I try to explain to people what it is. It's kind of hard to explain, but I know it when I taste it, and really, what it is exactly what you said, where everything is existing equally, and that one, component is just it's a standout, is overshadowing the others. You just got everything existing in harmony, and to me, once I get that balance, then I know that I'm done.
Harmony is the best freaking compliment for this thing I
Mhm.
can think of, because you've got your the oak is playing its part on your palate. The
Mhm.
sugar is hitting the sides. You've got the beautiful mid palate, just like front and center, standing. Like it's the torchbearer for this entire mouthfeel. Is that right in the middle, while
Yep.
everything else just kind of works the room.
Yep.
Jesus. And this is one that you can, like, if the first sip, like, this is one you could sit with for an hour and a half and just dissect.
Oh, easily. Yeah,
In
definitely.
terms of our whiskey nerds, this
Yep.
is the one where you could just
Mhm.
like it's raining in North Carolina today. I might just sit out under a covered porch and microscope this thing for about an
Nice.
hour. You know what I mean?
Sounds fun to me.
Good Lord. And even the nose, like the nose is evolving as you sit with it longer, where,
Yeah, once you let it breathe a little bit,
yeah.
it'll just develop.
Mm. That is absolutely that's a freaking blood oath right there, John. That
Yep.
is a freaking blood oath.
Appreciate it, man.
Down to
I'm
the, I
happy with
mean,
it,
even
definitely.
the finish is even like the. I, I love it when the finish ties back to the palate.
Yeah.
I love it
Mhm.
where it's like it it sits in the chest almost the
Yep.
same way that it sits in the back of
Mhm.
the throat, the same way it, like, just all of it
Yep.
makes sense in
Yep.
how you're experiencing it.
It's yeah, I've sat with this 12 many, many nights now, and just sipped it and just thought about it. And but like you were just saying, where the finish mimics, it's like the mid palate on it, where and the nose, for some reason, I'm getting that same cherry. And I get that cherry on the nose, I get it in the mid palate, and then on the finish, I get it where, to me, it's like when you eat a cherry with a seed, and you're kind of got the seed still in your mouth at the end.
Yep.
For some reason, it makes me think of that every time I sip this.
It's because it hits you
Yeah.
right behind the,
Yeah.
like, back of the jaw. Like it's
Right.
just I know exactly what you're talking about
Yep.
because you're still and it is that organic nature of having the
Mhm.
seed too, because
Mhm.
it's is it the tart? Is it like a hint of the tart that's hitting
It's
you
a little
behind?
bit. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because like when you get the
Right.
pit and the pit's got like that combination, like the super flavor almost of just having none of the fruit left around it.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
Yep.
super interesting. Yeah, I get that 100. The beauty of good whiskey is that you could just like, it would make for an awful show, but I think we could probably just sit here and just nod while sipping
Right.
this
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just being completely mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
huh?
Yeah.
Just
Know exactly what you're thinking. Yep. Yep.
oh, this thing, good Lord. Every time I think I'm about ready to start talking, I get another wave. Delicious, delicious, delicious whiskey.
Thank you.
And absolutely merits the Blood Oath moniker because it is, good Lord, tasty.
I agree. Thank you,
Yep, of course.
though.
If I didn't mean it, I would have just said, "This
No,
is
I know.
good."
Yeah, this is really good. Next.
you, you can tell
Yeah.
I've been certain people. You'll hang out with them, and all of a sudden,
Mhm.
like I do, if I do a character of you, that's in my head for like the next 7 or 8 days after I've talked to somebody.
Nice.
Yeah. My sister, she was always like the Jekyll and Hyde drinker. She'd be like completely normal and sophisticated, and then like a
Mhm.
couple sips in, she'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
who
I
wants to
know.
go to Bojangles?"
I have friends like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, we have some of the same friends like that.
Yeah, exactly. I actually might be like that too. I don't know. I'll get a like. I mean, I, the thing is, I get very um, generous when I've had a couple drinks, and I've been known. We have a Christmas party at Lux Row every year, and and since I live right there at the house, I've got all this whiskey back at the house, and you give me a couple drinks, and people will say, "Oh, I wish I could have got pack six." And I'm like, "Hold on!" And I walk across the distillery grounds, go to my house, I'll grab a pack six, come in, and say, "Hey, here you go, on me." And
Pop the top.
yeah, but yeah, I've my fiance, she made me bring most of my whiskey. So we have another house. That's actually where I'm at now. It's about an hour and a half from the distillery, and but she made me bring most of that whiskey here, so that I'm not tempted to give it all away. Because she's like, "You're gonna give all your whiskey away." So,
Smart woman. Smart
yeah.
woman.
Oh yeah, I'm happy. I'm glad she did. Yeah.
Uh, well, but that's the beauty of I know the sentiment right there because when
Yep.
somebody enjoys something and you have the ability, like
Yep.
all of these are open. Like the
Yep.
purpose of having them is for someone that hasn't had them to go, "Oh, I've
That.
always wanted to try that." And then
Yeah.
you pull it down and say, "Yeah, man." Like I think I've
Yeah.
got the pack 5 like right there.
I see it. Yep.
And that's the point. If somebody goes, "Oh, I've
Yep.
never had pack 5." You're like, "Oh shit, dude,
Well,
pop
here
it.
you go.
Let's have a
Yeah.
I won't have it
I
with
get.
you, but
Yeah.
we're definitely
It's
going to drink some right now."
that's my that it grinds my gears so much when I hear people say, I've had people come in the distillery and they'll say, "You got pack three or pack four?" I was like, "No, we don't have any of that old stuff. We don't. It's gone. It's sold out. It's," and they'll say, "Oh, well, I have a bottle at home, but I don't want to open it. So I was hoping I could taste it here." And I say, "Open the bottle, drink the
Yes.
bottle."
It's what it's
And
there for.
what I've started to tell people, I've been doing it for several years now, is when I'm signing bottles, people, even if I sign a bottle, it could be any bottle, and they'll say, "Well, I can't open that now. It's signed." And I'm like, "Go get yourself a marker, and when you're at home and your favorite relative comes over, your best friend comes over, or whoever, anybody comes over, and you want to share a pour, get that marker out and have them sign that bottle and date it, so that when that bottle is finally empty, it almost means more than when it was full, because you got all that history, those memories of everybody that signed it and when." And I've told many people this, and they're always like, "That's a great idea." And I'm like, "Yeah." So open the bottle, enjoy the bottle, drink it.
Dude, that's an
And
even
then,
better idea than sitting around looking at a full bottle with one signature
yes,
on it.
right, absolutely,
Have it be a damn time capsule of a good
right,
time.
right, exactly.
God bless. That is gorgeous. Uh, I yes, everybody has run into that at one point or another where
Mhm.
like, oh, I can't drink it now because it's got so and so's name on it. But 100%, I love the
Yeah,
idea of time capsuling it. I love the idea of just being able. I mean, think about it because every pour you've got a memory with, and then you're
right,
able to sit there and go, oh yeah, and I
and
hadn't seen him since the
mhm.
last time I had a sip, and just
Yep,
a freaking beautiful way
yep, yep,
to bring more community to what you're doing.
absolutely, yep.
Okay, geez, okay, now it's been sitting here and it's still the beautiful finish is still sitting there right behind the jaw and
Hmm.
it just keeps
It'll
going.
last. It
It's just
lingers.
oh my god, it
Yep.
exactly the way you want it to too. Like it lingers with the perfect harmony. I'll go back to
Yeah.
harmony, like just a beautiful freaking pour of whiskey, and definitely one that I'm glad I opened the bottle.
Exactly. See,
I
you
can't
don't get
think.
that if you don't open the bottle.
Yes, I can't. Could you imagine having that and not opening it and just like never knowing that that was the
Never
thing you're
knowing what it
sitting
is.
on?
Yeah.
That is nuts to me.
Yeah.
That was the same. I can't remember if I had the 11 or the last time we talked about it, but yeah, as soon as you and I had talked, I was like, well, shit, I got to find me an 11 and drink as much
Hmm.
of it as possible immediately.
Yeah.
Like no,
Definitely.
there is no keeping it
Right.
unopened anywhere. That just
No.
defeats the purpose.
Yep.
Now you can
I agree.
elevate it to where you can't reach it as readily. That might make
Right.
it last a little
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. Which is smart. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I don't advocate to just down a whole bottle in one night. 'Cause, yeah, you probably won't even remember what it tastes like the next morning. But
I
yeah.
try to tell people to follow the wine mentality if you're going to go all over the place. Start with the solid pour that
Yeah.
just like starts the night off.
Hmm.
But don't finish that bottle. Maybe have
No,
something
don't.
ready for
Yeah.
after you're a couple pours in and
Yep.
may not remember as well what you got from it.
Right. Exactly.
My wife likes to call it bottle number 2.
There you go.
Only she doesn't sound like a hee-haw character, I
There
promise.
you go.
She'll she'll hear this and be like, "Is that what I sound like?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, sorry.
Yeah.
I still
So
have."
that's what you think I sound like. Yeah.
So this is 12. Is it too
Mhm.
early to ruminate on what might be 13?
The 13, I cannot give you any specifics on that.
You couldn't blame me for trying.
Every time I, do an interview or talk to anybody in this capacity, I am reminded by marketing and by PR, do not give out what next year's is yet. They like to be able to create their little press release and send that out and have that, controlled by them as much as possible. But I will say that next year it's going to be a little different than anything I've done yet.
Hey, I like that as a teaser. That's more than
Yep.
enough for me. The
Yep.
same logic behind keeping it a mystery. Let's keep
Yep.
it a mystery for next year so that people
Yep.
can just like sit there and wonder. And
Yep.
you'll see on Reddit that I know for a fact that it's going to be
Yeah.
this, and you can
Yeah.
just sit back and chuckle that they're way
Yep.
off, but it'll still be
Yeah.
damn good when it
Yep.
comes out.
Still. Yep. Yep.
Oh my God, John, I can't think of a better way to start the week than with a pour of that right there.
Good
Uh,
Monday, isn't it?
it's a fantastic Monday. Start with some Blood Oath 12,
There you go. Yep.
and people can still get this. I believe it came out recently, but it's still in market, right?
It should still be a market. I can't guarantee that your local store is going to have it. A lot of times, it's very limited, very allocated. So a lot of times this doesn't even hit the shelf.
That's right.
They'll get it in, and then that store will call their VIP list, and
That's
whoever
right.
gets down there gets the bottle. We do have uh, a little bit left at the store. Actually, I think we're getting another shipment of it. We made sure that's one thing that I was adamant about this year was get a lot more for the distillery, um, especially for our release date back in April, where I hate turning people away when we run out. Um, that should not happen. If you're waiting in line, we have people waiting in line from 11:45 p.m. the previous night, for a 9:30 opening for the release. So I hate having to walk out there and say, sorry, folks, from this person back, we're out. So we've got a lot more at the distillery and we're getting another shipment into. So um, if you guys are anywhere near the Bardstown area and you want a bottle, you stop in the distillery and I'll probably be there. I'm there more often than not and come in and get a bottle.
There you go. Full circle. Was telling you guys when we started this that you needed to go to the distillery, Bardstown, Kentucky. Now you've got even more of a reason to go. And I will add to that, if you go, pick up a bottle of the Blood Oath Pact 12 and take the tour, man. Some of the most
Yeah.
beautiful rick houses you're going to see. One of the best experiences you're going to have. I've been so many times. I don't have as many barrels signed on that wall as you do, but I've got my name up there a few times.
Yep. Yep. Nice.
Well, thank you so much, John. I always appreciate the time.
Absolutely,
And
Jesse.
guys, he was just talking about this is very allocated. I'm gonna give you a little tip. When you go to your local liquor store, talk to them. Don't just go
Yeah.
in and ask for Blood Oath Pact 12. Build a relationship. Buy some barrel picks. I know for a fact that if you go to a few places, there are some beautiful Ezra picks. There are some beautiful, all sorts of Lux Row picks. And if you buy a few of those, now you've built a relationship with the owner. The owner might let you know the next time the Blood Oath comes in. So just put your time in and you will be rewarded by the whiskey gods. Fair advice, John?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great advice. Yeah, because like I was saying, a lot of these places, this will never even hit the shelf. It's never going to come out of the back room.
And unfortunately, no is the easiest way to keep
Yep.
people from bugging you. So
Right.
I,
Yep.
it's not on them. It's kind of on you. If you're just
Yep.
going and bugging them, go and put the time in, put the work in, and I guarantee you're going to walk away happier for it. Because even if you never get one, think of all the good whiskey you got to drink in between the start and
Right.
finish line.
Right.
Ooh, this is some philosophical whiskey you've made,
There you
John.
go.
It's
There you
right
go.
there, getting me all
There you go.
pontificating over here.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, as always, buddy, it's very good to
All
talk
right,
to
man.
you.
Absolutely.
I'll see you probably. Are you going to Tails next week?
No, I'm not.
No, I
Not able to. Yeah.
go into Louisiana Tuesday. If I don't see, okay, so I won't see you next week, but I'm sure I'll see you in Bardstown come September.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Jesse.
Rock and roll. Well, thank you so much for your time as
man.
always. And thank you again for some delicious whiskey. It is
I appreciate
absolutely
that.
wonderful.
I appreciate it. My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Cheers.